we really are well resourced at the moment to try to get our tech, our tools in front of as many people as possible.
It feels like we're at the start of this growing wave of momentum.
The way that tokenisation has evolved and moved in the last couple of years, the RWA narrative is the strongest.
We are getting a lot of projects that want to sign up, so I would say stay tuned to that. Okay, welcome everyone. So welcome to another Defactor Rewind. So happy to be here with co-founders Sharif and Brian. How you doing, guys?
Good to be here, Adam.
Great.
Excellent, excellent. So just to recap, what we like to do every quarter, we do a rewind just as, what happened, what were we excited about, some achievements, focus points. We want to talk about the outlook. I think everybody knows there's a lot of optimism around our space at the moment, which is great. A little bit more info about the use cases and our toolkit and roadmap. I think from there we have quite a lot to cover. How does that sound?
Let's go for it.
All right, excellent. How about we start from the tech and innovation side? So Sharif, you're taking the lead on the tech and innovation pillar. So this quarter, what were some things that you were happy about? Give us some info.
Yeah, I mean, the teams have been, super busy, working now in bi-weekly sprints. We've got a roadmap published on a developer docs that is kind of outlining the direction to travel through all of this stuff. Last year, we had a huge effort to ship Defactor pools and put our first client live on that. This quarter we've been mainly focused on productionizing that and making it self-service so that our clients can create their own pools, they can manage them, they have the right amount of reporting and analytics for it, and that we're there supporting them on their journey and giving them solutions for the business. It's just been shipping and showing is kind of how we've been approaching it. Since the start of the year, we've got a new internal microsite, inside.defactor.com, and on there on a weekly basis we're just showing what's been focused on, what's been achieved, what's been moved, because there's a real hunger from community members and stakeholders to see what's actually going on week to week. And sometimes it seems like not a lot is happening, but under the covers, and if you're looking at git commits and stuff that's happening at a code base level, a lot of stuff is happening, and it's a nice way for non-technical people to get a feel for what goes on in a technical project. We're shipping and hopefully showing a lot of progress.
I think that's a big one that you said. I mean, having those weekly updates, being able to check on the Git commits. What we did find, we got some feedback from the community that it was a little bit sporadic with the information you had to. Were you looking on Twitter? Were you looking on Discord? Was it onto the website? One big thing that we did this quarter was we kind of centralized, maybe it's not the right word to use in our world, but we put all of our resources in one place on the website. So you can go to the defactor.com/resources, you can find those developer docs, you can see the inside at Defactor. And another thing we're doing now is trying to put all the use cases as well. So we have a use case section that you can see how can the Defactor tech be used for precious metals in the case of Oris, or some of the other use cases that we have now. So I think it's at a nice point where we have the information all coming into one point. And I think if people are looking to see how can they catch up with Defactor, it is at that resources page or on the Inside Defactor page.
And of course on this podcast.
And this podcast. So that's another big thing. So in terms of the updates or quarterly updates, we will continue to do this podcast. It's been a great resource for the community. We're able to take not only the podcast, but break it into shorts. We're able to do some written content based off of it as well. So although it is a lot of work to set up, and I have to give a big thanks to the guys at Dublin Podcast Studio and Q and the content team that are helping us do this, but it's really valuable because we take the feedback from the community, what they'd like to see, and then we feed it in through here. So yeah, let's keep it going. So okay, so that's a nice one from the technology side. From the website, some of the updates have been going. I guess outside of even Defactor, just in the overall tokenization or RWA space, there's a lot of excitement. What are you seeing, Brian, at the moment?
It's definitely one of the themes that's for this year, a very 2024 theme. Hopefully, you can see it across not just Defactor, but the whole sector that is this. There's a lot of positivity when it comes to shipping new product, when it comes to the tokens and their utility and where that's getting used. And then, of course, what we see in the project, we see people knocking on the door, coming in with all sorts of ideas about what they'd like to do with this, with these new tools and techniques. So I think where we're at is that There's been a lot of talk for many years about doing something, and there's a little bit more doing happening this year.
Yeah, I think we kind of said it on one of our previous segments that it's funny, a lot of these narratives were what was being talked about 4, 5, 6 years ago, but it's only now that some of the financial institutions, the regulators, some of these other players have started to catch up, that you can start to touch and feel it a little bit more than you could before. Before there was a lot of these experiments or POCs, etc., and it's starting to see like we may be ready for adoption on some of this stuff. Fingers crossed.
Correct.
Crossed on that.
Across a lot of those everything from audit to tax to you name it, people who were just looking at this with fresh eyes a few years ago have been through a first few projects. That experience is beginning to grow. People are becoming more comfortable, and that's what we need.
Yeah, excellent. Here. So from Q4, I guess, Q4 2023 to now, trying to think about some of the things we're doing slightly different. Sharif mentioned working in sprints. We're trying to do that across the community and the growth team as well, just to make sure we're always on the, what are we doing this week? What did we do last week? What are we doing next week? And everybody kind of gets on that same page, which is really nice. I guess one key difference, if we're trying to look at previous quarters to now, is a really increased focus on business development from the growth team. I want to give a shout out to Anastasia, who's leading out the growth team. We've got Finn and Dermot. We've got the guys from Zyzen who are helping us out. So we really are well resourced at the moment to try to get our tech, our tools in front of as many people as possible. And that's very much the strategy. Try to see across Engage, pools, assets, how many of these users can we get? Because of course, more users means more buybacks. So yeah, I want to see if you have any take on that, Sharif.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're obviously at the start, or it feels like we're at the start of this growing wave of momentum. We're seeing new RWA projects springing up daily. Very few of them have any technology or any know-how in the space, but they might have industry knowledge to tokenize a piece of real estate or a financial product, or we've seen all sorts. The approach that we've taken in Defactor is let's build the tools and have the infrastructure so that all these other companies can build their business on top of it, and we can accelerate them. And it seems to be working in that now, when a tokenization project comes in, we can get them in and live in weeks rather than them having to undergo, their own development risk, their own development life cycles with different partners and know-how, etc. And all of that stuff takes time. I mean, we've been at this now for over 2 years, and now we've got a stack which we believe is ready for scaling and ready for all of these use cases.
I think that's important for when you have projects that are looking to do a build versus buy, or should they kind of bring something in to get them from 0 to 1. And I guess a reminder on the toolkit, so that's if people don't have, let's say for example, staking or account management dashboards, that's where you would use Engage. If you don't have liquidity pools technology, lending and borrowing, that's where you would use pools. And for asset tokenization and also creating a basket of different reference tokens for one, that's Defactor Assets. And it is kind of a nice checklist when we meet projects to say, well, do you have staking? If not, why not? Some people are using third-party apps. What we have at the moment is you'd just be able to get yourprojectname.engage.com, and from there you're able to, as I say, interact with your community, engage with your community. So that's a big focus for this quarter, and I think it leads nicely into then event marketing and where we're going to be. So first quarter of the year we had a few people around. We had some of our tech team were at BTC Atlantis. We had, I'm going to forget some of the events which we were at. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it to ETH Denver. I did want to go to that one. But the next big one for us really is that week of Token 2049 for Dubai. So that's the week, I believe it starts 15th of April. We've got our team that's going to be there, boots on the ground. We're going to have presence at a lot of the major events there, obviously the side events. And we'll be hosting our own side events there too. So if you check out the website, you'll see we're running a Defactor Sessions, we're calling it. So there's an Irish village in Dubai. Being a lot of team from Ireland, we wanted to capture that, where we're taking an Irish pub, we're getting some people in, and we try to have some fun. Make it less kind of buttoned up kind of conference style and more networking, trying to get to meet people in our space. So we're really excited for that. And if anybody's going to be in town that week, please be sure to come with us. So
yep.
You're also going to be there that week too, Brian. Are you looking forward to it?
Totally. And I think to follow what you just said there a moment ago, what Defactor is creating is that Lego, other people to use and to build. And I think that in Token 2049, there's going to be lots of people there who need those pieces of Lego. when it comes to their own projects. And we want to meet those people and bring the value that we have to them so that they can continue building out their concept. So if they can come to the Irish pub, great. If they just want to give any of us a call or drop anybody in Defactor a line, we're there to meet them.
Yeah, we absolutely are. And there's going to be some other projects there. I think that a lot of the Web3 world is going to converge in Dubai that week. But I do know, for example, Polytrade are going to be trying to run some events. We hope we will do some stuff with there too. Our partners at Oris, some of the other partners will be there. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting week. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's an incredible space in that, people are generally so open to doing something, some kind of partnership, working together. It's such a rich startup environment where everybody is innovating and passionate and, resourced well so that they're able to get stuff done and get it moving. So it's exciting, getting to meet different teams face to face always helps, build relationships and build trust. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the outlook is we will be in Dubai. We should be in Hong Kong as well. We've got some team members out there. There's a great space in Club Dow, which we'll probably end up doing something too. So that's all coming, which is great. But the place to find that is on the website. We have all of our events hosted on there. We try to keep it up to date. And as I mentioned before, the resources page will keep you up to date with everything that's happening. So that's, I guess, from the event marketing side. There's been a couple of big, I suppose, moves from the community. So we had some governance votes around the token, and I think they're pretty important. We should talk about it. The main one is, 1/3 of Defactor tokens have been locked now for, 2 years?
So 2 years, yeah. A proposal went out to essentially lock up 1/3 of our token supply for 2 years. The driver for that is, to give our community and, potential token holders in the future the certainty that as we go through this cycle that there's not massive sell pressure going to come from the project itself. The project is well resourced, hopefully through this cycle and the next, so it's not as if there was a need to sell more tokens or put them out into the ecosystems or give grants for our tokens, and that's all real pressure that early stage token projects have. So that was the first one. The other key part, which was kind of, I'm not sure whether it was overlooked, it was very well supported, but we were looking for ways to align all of our partners and all of our vendors with Defactor token. A lot of projects issue tokens or give tokens as a bonus or a reward, and we wanted a way to align what people earned from the project with a forward look and the align incentives, and the majority of our vendors now have signed up to participate. They're fully supportive, so essentially we're paying them less in fiat equivalent each month, and they're using the amount that we're giving them less to buy tokens and lock them for 12 months on a voluntary basis. So everybody now that's working in the project has an incentive every month for the project to align with the token, with the success of the project, and to deliver growth for across the project. So as we're sitting here now, we're just about to do the second vendor buyback. For a token economy like ours, it's a substantial amount of money every month, and we're starting to see that working, and all of that's happening through our buyback contract, which went live last year, and has processed a significant amount of money into the token economy. So yeah, they were the two key bits.
I think it's good to be able to show the community this traction. So when you go on to engage, you're able to see the dashboard about the amount of buybacks. I believe it's over 1% of the supply we've bought back at the moment. And the way that works is they're bought back from the open market, and then they filter back through the various ecosystem buckets. They're locked for a year. So again, the more buybacks we can get, the more customers we can get using our toolkit, the more that Factor token gets used. And that's ultimately the name of the game.
It's like to have a token.
That's why you have a token. Exactly. So I think a lot of the community would like to know the types of projects that we're trying to bring the toolkit or put the toolkit in front of. And I'm happy to report we do have some now which will be going live, either will be live at this point or will be going live soon. But Sharif, do you want to give some insights into some of those projects or the reasoning behind trying to onboard in this way?
Yeah, so I guess on the pool side, we've essentially got two products within the pool side. One is, asset-backed bearer collateralized lending. So the likes of Oris, they've got a tokenized gold token, and that has a value and can be liquidated on Uniswap. So it's a completely permissionless system that we deploy. If people lock up that asset, they can draw down some liquidity. The other side of the coin is for assets that aren't bearer assets on chain, right? So there's a lot of projects that tokenize and they create an NFT in the digital twin. We don't believe that works. We don't believe that unless something can be liquidated on chain in a permissionless way, it's an asset-backed token. However, there's a huge opportunity for counterparty lending. So a couple of the projects that are coming live now onto the Defactor stack, one of them is a trade finance company who we've already been working with, and another one is a market maker type industry player that has a huge need for lending, for borrowing of stable coins so that they can have the working capital to operate their businesses. Not the type of business that traditional banks even understand their support, and we're seeing those type of opportunities being offered through DeFi protocols. So we've got one of those going live soon. But it's important that people understand the type of lending that it is and the type of risk that it is. Whether if something is asset backed, so if you don't pay it back, it's automatically disposed of, so the loan always gets covered, versus it's a counterparty loan. I need to do my due diligence if I'm lending to that pool and understand who they are and making sure that, I understand the risk and I've done my own research. So what we're really trying to do is, showcase a number of different industries and solutions that are problems that are being solved by our solution stack. And we believe as we start to show one, it will attract more of those type of businesses. And because the need for this type of decentralized, community-led funding for different opportunities is massive. And anytime we kind of open one door, it's just immense the amount of other opportunities that are there. So that's what we've got coming.
Okay, excellent. And of course, that's the pool side with Engage. I think, as I mentioned before, it's clients that are looking to have staking, they're looking to have dashboards, analytics, account management. And when we did that analysis, we found there's quite a lot of these smaller cap, low cap projects that either have staking that's coming or it's through third parties. They don't have it themselves. And again, we wanted to create Engage in such a way that it's easy to onboard, easy to understand, and we are getting a lot of projects that want to sign up. So I would say stay tuned to that.
And a key part of using a token and the Engage platform is we use our token and our buyback contract to essentially be the fuel for a circular token economy. And we've got an understanding from the legal teams that the way that we're doing it is. Maybe I shouldn't go quite down that way, but
it works in Switzerland.
Yeah, it works in Switzerland. But what we're able to basically provide now is a product set for a new project to say, here, this is how we do it, and you can use the same tools and the same contracts as we're using it, and we'll just take a fee for those type of operations, so that people can build on top of our experience rather than thinking that they have to go and design something new every time.
Yeah, I like it. And I suppose to continue on the way in which that we're doing this, we're currently engaged in I guess you could call it a research project at the moment to essentially aggregate a lot of these projects that exist in the RWA space. So we're calling it the RWA 50 at this point. But Brian, you've done this previously with Black Manta, with the Tokenisation 50, right?
So a couple of years ago, there was a project undertaken between Black Manta and University that sought to look at the sector of tokenization, as it was called back then, and to see who was active in it and to do an analysis of what the top 50 firms at that particular moment in time were in that space. The way that tokenization has evolved and moved in the last couple of years, I'd say the RWA narrative is the strongest piece of that at the moment, and you see what used to be tokenization now becoming RWA, and they're meeting somewhere in between. So together with Black Manta, the teams of both Black Manta and Defactor are looking at this RWA space and saying, okay, of the galaxy of different projects and ideas that are out there, what are the top 50? So I think that when that comes out, it should make for very interesting reading. And of course, if anyone is looking at this and isn't in it and think they should be, please contact the team. Make sure that your name is there, because the last thing we want is to have the top 50 missing somebody.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's already happening. Every day you're seeing new projects on LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., and you have to constantly say, oh, are they on the list? Or it's constantly evolving. But we do want it to have that. I meet people all the time where they say, where do I go? Where do I find some information on this RWA space? And this is what we want to try to create, right? A place that people are able to view, okay, if there's infrastructure providers in the space, who are they? What do they do? Same thing with tokenization players across different asset classes. So I think it's a really nice initiative. Delighted to be working on it with Black Manta and some others. And please stay tuned for some more on that.
Yep. Whenever you rank the top 50, the number 51 will be upset.
Well, this is it. The whole industry is growing so fast. I mean, this time next year it'll be the top 500 or something, But
gotta start somewhere.
But I think you got to start somewhere. But I think what's really important, especially for newcomers to our space, is that they have a place to go to do some research, and to have independent teams then looking at other projects and saying, oh, look, they're real people, or the tech is real and what they're saying is real, because it's very easy to stand up a new project and say that you're this and that. Anybody that's been through cycles before have seen so many, not just projects with potential go out of business, but straight out scams just springing up. So I think that's why it's an important initiative. I'm interested to see who makes the list.
For sure. And it's something to say that you have 50 going 500 firms in the space, and I think that's only set to rise in the next couple of years, because people always want new and innovative ways to finance assets.
Thanks very much, guys. This was great. I think we've covered a lot. We covered what we've done this quarter, the outlook for next. We're certainly going to keep this going. The community is really happy about us doing these regular updates. As I've said already, please check out our resources page. Please check out Inside Defactor page and the developer docs. You're constantly going to see some momentum there, but we're always open for feedback. So please hit us up on the channels, and we'll see you next time. So thank you very much.
And see you in Dubai.
This podcast is for information purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. Please do your own research